This man's favorite player, his adoptive son, Josh Allen, had quite the day yesterday. Roll the tape!
Let's go with this one.
He's gonna do it. It's the game of the season every year. It's Josh, it's Patrick, it's Brady, it's Manning reincarnate. Second quarter, Bills down 7-6. Amari Cooper, Teddy, he's got a wrist. How does he make the catch?
Still gets his toes in. Josh was hitting the stomach. Still gets a throw up in the air. Great accuracy there. Wonderful play.
And then James Cook with his second touchdown.
Monster is on fire.
Bills take a 13-7 lead. We're 3 minutes to go in the half. It's Mahomes. It's Noah Gray. First of 2 touchdowns on the day for him. That gives Kansas City a lead. Buffalo kicks a field goal, 16-14 Bills at the half. Now we're early in the fourth quarter. Bills driving. Curtis Samuel finding the space.
Somebody forgot to cover that.
And
Somebody forgot to cover, but a hell of a catch by Curtis.
Get in the end zone, buddy.
Bills up by 9. Next Chiefs drive, under 12 to go. First down, Kansas City. Kareem Hunt. The running game starting to work on this drive. Chiefs trying to
And you got to see more of that.
Second and goal from the 1. It's Noah Gray again. His first career multi-touchdown day. Chiefs with it too. And you just figure this is exactly the kind of game Kansas City wins. Bills critical 3rd and 9. Khalil Shakir hangs on against the big hit. And that sets the stage. Play of the year. 4th and 2. Field goal. Forget it. Here comes Josh.
Who's the best player in the National Football League? I don't want to hear best quarterback, best player. That man right there. Is that Josh Allen or is that Superman? I can't tell the difference.
When he wins MVP, that will be the play they show over and over again. Josh Allen, the game-winning touchdown on a 4th down. The Bills get the victory. Josh, what does it mean?
It means we got to 9 wins. I know it's from perception, outside perception, it's a really big game and what it means for both fan bases and the league. We're in week 11. You know, we're 9-2. Last time I checked, 9 wins probably doesn't get you in the playoffs. Yeah, given our history, we tend to meet in the playoffs. So, again, we're not there yet. We'll focus on that when we get there.
Josh is saying pump the brakes.
There was a lot to unpack. Put your feet up, folks. I'm not going to a break for a long time. Get comfortable. We got a lot to get to today with a lot of games. There was a lot to unpack in those comments, right? First off, did you see the wink? Like he winks. As he says the first thing, it means we got to 9 wins with a little wink. So I have no idea how to interpret that.
That means I know what we got to do, and I know what this means. But listen, let's chill out a little bit because this really means nothing to me because I've done it before in the regular season.
He's now 4-4 lifetime against Mahomes. The problem is Mahomes has won all 3 of the playoff meetings. But what was the first thing you said when you triumphantly strode in the door of our building this morning? The first thing you said?
Josh Allen's the best quarterback in the league. Josh Allen, the best quarterback in the league. Yeah, I know when I said that this morning, you were like, well, what about Lamar? What about Lamar Jackson? What about Josh Allen's the best.
Patrick Mahomes.
Josh Allen is the best quarterback in the National Football League. Right now, he's the best quarterback. He can beat you. You know how you talk about styles make fun. He can play whatever way you want to play. If you need him to air it out and throw it all over the yard, Josh Allen can do that. If you want him rumbling and tumbling all over the field, guess what? He can do that. And you know the thing that he's doing, probably the best he's done all his whole career, is taking care of the football.
He is.
He's taking care of the football. Josh Allen puts on his cape when he needs to put on his cape. And going head-to-head against Patrick Mahomes yesterday in the game of the year, Josh Allen was playing some of his best ball in the biggest game of the year.
Every time you say Josh Allen right there, I believe you can insert Patrick Mahomes. Really, because I think we're talking about the same beast here. I mean, I've seen Patrick Mahomes make runs like that on 4th and 2 also.
But you know what? But you know what the difference is? See, I know where you're going. You're going to, well, let's fast forward. Let's wait till we get when the games really matter in the postseason. I think that's the only thing left for Josh Allen in this situation is the playoffs. Because we know that bad man on 15 has something to say during that moment. But right now, Josh Allen's the best quarterback in the National Football League.
And see, I always said this. I always say the best player. And why do I say player over quarterback? Because he's more than just a quarterback. All right? This guy, let me tell you about him as a ball carrier. All right? 44% of the times that he carries the football, he runs for first downs. There's no ball carrier in the history of the National Football League that can say that. Only Josh Allen. That's why he's the best player. He puts it every time. Fourth down, hey, this just in. Josh Allen is going to carry it. Gonna carry it. Yeah. He'll carry it for wins on first downs. He'll carry it for touchdowns. This dude is an absolute beast. He reminds me of this, the greatest runner I've ever seen. And absolutely scared the hell out of me the first time I met him was Cam Newton.
Okay.
He runs like Cam Newton.
Yeah.
By the way, the best arm I've ever seen in my life.
He's built like Cam Newton, right? He's Cam works here on Fridays now, so I saw Cam Newton walk in the door the other day, and I went like this.
And you're like, oh, yeah.
It's ridiculous how big he is, but Josh is that.
Because when I first saw him, I said, who the hell is going to tackle his ass?
Yeah.
Nobody. And the same thing for this guy. And by the way, so the best arm I ever saw in my life, gritty man, I was watching this guy, this John Elway guy. Oh, my God, a bazooka when it comes out. They just sit back and say, load it up. Bam! There it is. It's a bazooka. That's how this kid throws. Why do I say he's the best red zone quarterback I've ever seen? Well, I've only seen 50 years of football. Why? Because nobody can tackle this guy. And he's got that. You have to have this gun in the red zone because there's such tight windows. All right, this guy's an absolute freak. I got to read this thing from Himbo. All right, right here. He's had, in the red zone over the last 2 seasons, 53 in 3 across the last 2 seasons in the red zone, touchdown to turnover ratio.
53 touchdowns.
53 to 3. Like, are you kidding me?
It's good.
It's absolutely crazy. By the way, this year, all right, the Chief defense, because they're a defensive football team first.
Right.
All right, best in the league. Let's see, who's had the best quarterback rating against the Chiefs? That would be Josh Allen at 82.9. All right. Now, they sack the quarterback like crazy. Kansas City does, so that give them a huge. How many sacks yesterday? That'd be a big donut.
0, yeah.
Why? Because that man's playing quarterback.
Let's make some points here. All right, so Kansas City hadn't given up 30 points in a game since early last season. This is the first time they have. We had a number up on the screen a moment ago that showed that Kansas City's chance of getting the 1 seed is now 52%. We did this on Sunday Countdown yesterday. If Kansas City had won the game yesterday, that would have been 90-something%. It's now wide open. So this game meant everything because you pointed out the bye in the NFL is the biggest advantage you can have in any sport.
I believe it is.
Because there's only one. Yesterday would have ended the discussion. So that was a critical win for the Bills and a critical loss for Kansas City.
Because it puts pressure on them. It puts pressure on the Chiefs now. I mean, if the Bills were to win out, which is going to be difficult, but still, it's possible, and the Kansas City Chiefs lose one more, that home field advantage is gone. That bye is gone. It's going to go to the Buffalo Bills.
Teddy, Kansas City plays in a much tougher division. I mean, as they go down the rest of the way, we're talking about who's going to win and who's going to lose. The Bills have a 5-game lead in the AFC East in the win column. Kansas City's dealing with the Chargers, who we'll get to in a minute, and Denver, who's playing really well. They're not going to walk through the rest of their schedule.
And those teams, what you're mentioning, just those two, you haven't even mentioned Pittsburgh, but the edge rushers on those teams are so formidable that the offensive tackles of the Kansas City Chiefs, that's the problem right now. Even Mahomes, watching him, he knows his clock is I'm under 2 seconds before I got to get out of here and run because it was either Oliver coming up the middle or Epinesa on the edge. Rousseau on the edge. Von Miller did a great job of pressing the pocket also, but that's a bust right there. You don't even block him, but on the edge is a problem for the Kansas City Chiefs in that this is a season-ending problem, too, because, you're a strip sack away from drives being ended, giving away points. This is a problem in Kansas City.
So they had won 15 straight games the Chiefs had going into yesterday. And on Sunday NFL Countdown, you were talking about comparing them to your 03 and 04 teams, your Patriot teams that I believe had won 21 games. That was what the streak wound up being, right? 21 consecutive games that you won. So I asked you, what does a loss mean? When that streak ends, what does this mean for Kansas City? Because I'm going to read you some numbers that I think suggest that the Chiefs might be, I don't want to overdo this because they still have the best coach, and with all due respect to Allen, we don't put anything past Mahomes. He remains one of the greatest players, if not the greatest I've ever seen. But let me just read you some numbers. All right, if you're going to judge a team by its plus minus, we are just a little over halfway through the season. Here are the plus minuses, meaning the total points versus their opponents. The Bills have outscored their opponents this year by 106 points.
Right.
The Steelers by 78 points. The Chargers by 75 points. Kansas City is 9-1, but their plus minus is only 49. You keep talking all the time about how they don't knock anybody out, and yesterday it came back to bite them.
Absolutely, Greeny. Imagine that. And so when I look
right
at this,
again.
right again, it's crazy. It's just every week. But who the hell am I? I don't know. But let's just say this. You don't win by knockout. This is scary as hell because every single team on your, I don't care, maybe with the exception of Carolina, every single team thinks they got a chance to beat you. Mm-hmm. Every single one of them. They remind me of Philadelphia last year. What happened? The implosion, right? They won 10 games and then they lost one.
You're not suggesting that they're going to suddenly.
No, I'm not.
Right.
It's very similar. I said the same thing about Philly. It's a dangerous game you're playing. Like when you're playing teams that you should dominate, you better dominate them. And if not, every single team's going to hang around. Every single team. And I'll tell you where it's really going to play is in the playoffs. That's when it really shows. Because now all of a sudden you're playing a good football team, you're kind of hanging around and all that stuff, and teams, you can't make up a 14-point deficit in the playoffs. And that's the thing, and we've seen him do it. I get it. Patrick Mahomes, this is not the same team. You mentioned those tackles. They can't pass block. This offense is not even close to what we've seen in the past.
Let me give you another area, too, that I'm concerned about between the Chiefs offensively is, I love Worthy on the sweeps outside. I mean, you give it to him on reverses or whatever. He has to establish himself consistently deep down the field. He's a track athlete. You've told me he's a track athlete playing football, and it looks like it on those deep balls, okay? Here it is right here. This should be a big play in the game. Wide open. This kid, he doesn't drag his feet. I don't know. He tries to drag his right foot a little bit early. I mean, this is football 101 here, especially for a receiver in the professional ranks. I mean, go back a couple weeks to the Buccaneers. I saw it last night, and I'm like, didn't he do that before a few weeks ago? That's another wide open. That should be a completion. Your feet should be in. Does he have spatial problems? All right, I want to see this kid deep down the field, being more consistent for this offense, because if he does this and he develops that, then even Kelsey even more, Hopkins even more. But you need some type of threat. Right now, this kid on the sideline, he
better
can't get his
track
feet down.
player than he is a football player.
I want to see it improve. You got to get better.
That's why
Worthy.
I was surprised they took him as high as they did. Everybody fell in love with the 40-yard dash. If he's running a 40, fine, go for it. He can compete with anybody.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, he put the pads on. The NFL is a size speed league.
Yeah, but what
it's
you're
not
saying,
just a speed
not
league.
blowing teams out to score quickly.
Yeah.
That's how you do it. A big play down the field, and all of a sudden there's 3, there's 7. The Chiefs have to do this. They have to do this because that's one of the problems.
Absolutely.
Right.
Let me ask one more question, and then I'm told that I have some breaking news that I'll get to. But just to finish the topic here, the offensive line, and again, for those who don't know, D. Wood, you played tackle, you played guard, you played center, you played every position on the offensive line. The Chiefs have major tackle problems. We've gone over it, and again, it showed itself yesterday. Teddy was talking about it a moment ago. Is that something that can be solved as a season goes on? We're already almost at the end of November. Can they solve that in time for the playoffs?
No, first of all, there's no offensive lineman on the street that can come in and solve anything like that. Scheme-wise, at the end of the day, what happens is when you have problems, especially on the edge, then what you got to do is start committing to help those guys. Well, then guess what? Now that's less people out in the route. You know, so now that you're playing into the defense's hands. So this is something that the Kansas City Chiefs, they're going to be dealing with for the rest of the season, unfortunately.
If Wanye Morris goes down and Sua Mataea has to come in, I mean, you got real problems then. I mean, so you got these guys that got to stay healthy, too, down the stretch.
Yeah, there's
What's
one
the solution?
The solution is running the football. And I know people don't want to hear it. But I'm going to tell you.
I want to hear it, Rex.
I'm going to tell you, that's how you protect the dang quarterback. Run the football, and you'll heavy up the protections like you're saying. But, guys, when Kansas City has to win in the playoffs, they run the football.
Yeah.
So when Pacheco comes back, mixing Pacheco in here with Kareem Hunt, that's how they're going to change it. Because right now, this throwing it all over the place is great in the regular season and stuff. If you don't change your MO, it ain't going to work.
I will say this. I will say this. Pacheco actually gave the Kansas City Chiefs offense an identity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A toughness. I think that's what they miss on offense.
100%.
They only ran the ball 17 times yesterday. I mean, 2 of them were by Mecole Hardman and Xavier Worthy, so they only had 14 carries for Kareem Hunt.